Well, as heavy rains and flooding persist in some parts of the country, emergency services have raised safety concerns as drowning incidents have been reported. Let's take this discussion further. Then we are now joined via Zoom by Craig Lambon. He's the National Sea Rescue Institute spokesperson. A very good afternoon to you, sir. As always, thanks for joining us here on SABC News.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us.
You're most welcome. Well, this, is a time of the year where we certainly do see or experience a lot of heavy rains and floods. Already, as you saw from our previous clip, there have been incidents of, drowning and there having to be rescue operations. How does the public really sort of prepare for this time of the year when we know that this is what we are going to experience?
Yeah, so this is a very difficult time because the floods, especially the flash floods in the Gauteng area are unusual in the sense that there's been unusually high rainfall experienced. So even though there are areas that normally experience this kind of effect at this time of the year, there are a lot of areas affected that aren't used to this, despite the rains that they normally receive. And particularly in the West Rand, at present, since about 4:30 a.m. this morning, it has been literally, the emergency services have dealt with close on 150, in excess of 150 rescue operations, and hundreds, if not thousands of cases where they've assisted people because of this rising waters along the riverways in the Gauteng area that are causing a little havoc for local residents in that area. The NSRI has joined the emergency services in the response. We have NSRI Gauteng, we have NSRI from Hartbeespoort Port Dam, and now also NSRI from Vaal Dam that have joined the emergency services in this response to assist people, particularly people trapped by floodwaters. But there are also cases where people are missing as a result of these flash floods.
Yeah, and of course NSRI, it mostly does focus on rescue around the seas and beaches. Let's talk about your preparations, given the fact that also this time of the year is when people go on holiday, and certainly a lot of people will be going to the beach. So there'll be beach goers, and when we start to hear about drowning incidents, for example, what are your preparations at this point for that?
You're correct. So NSRI do have 6 inland water rescue stations, and we do also concentrate a lot on the inland water rescue, considering that more people drown on inland waters than they do on the coast. But we are highly prepared to respond to emergencies, not only on inland waters, but also around the coast. We are continuing to appeal to the public who are visiting the coast over this summer, over this vacation period, to go to beaches where and when the lifeguards are on duty, obey the instructions of the lifeguards, and boaters to download and use the NSRI RSA Safe Tracks app. But we are appealing to the public on inland waterways, especially in the Gauteng area. Don't try to cross rivers that are affected by rising waters, by these flash floods, and exercise caution around water generally.
Yeah, I know you talk about Gauteng, but will there also be quite a bit of focus on KZN? I raised the issue of KZN just because there's been a lot of talk about, their beaches, and they've been flagged, for issues of cleanliness, but also just in general, water safety concerns around, whether it is Durban beaches, but around KZN. Will there be some sort of special focus from the NSRI?
Not from the NSRI, no. We concentrate on rescue operations, but we are aware that the local municipalities are dealing with the water cleanliness and what might affect people swimming in the waters in KwaZulu-Natal. But certainly NSRI volunteers are on duty to respond to emergencies as is necessary, together with the greater emergency services.
Yeah, And just broadly, if we can talk about the issue of climate change, and, you know, it's something that we talk about as a by the way, and I think I'm guilty of doing the same thing right now, that this is certainly a big issue, and some of the issues that we are experiencing are as a direct result of climate change. How has this affected your operations as the NSRI, and, you know, the experience over the years and how it's changed over the years? I'm sure you've seen the patterns sort of changing, which show that, you know, climate change is actually a real thing.
So NSRI hasn't noticed any particular change resulting in climate change. We are aware that there is quite a large drive towards that kind of thing, but there certainly isn't any kind of increased, there's nothing unusual regarding water levels or rainfall. This is a seasonal thing, and certainly every now and again, even in history, from time to time, there has been more than what was previously accounted for.
Yeah.
So we aren't particularly focused on anything like that. What we can confirm is that the NSRI and the emergency services are highly prepared to respond to any emergency, no matter what the cause of that emergency is.
Yeah.
We are highly prepared to respond to those emergencies over this vacation period. All
right, Craig Lambon, as always, thanks very much for speaking to us, sir. That's the NSRI spokesperson. Talk to us about water safety in summer heavy rains as well as flooding.